This video is going to be our review of verb conjugation. We've already gone over this. We've learned how to conjugate verbs in class, but we're just going to spend some time going through it again, making sure everyone knows how to conjugate a verb correctly and what exactly it is. So, again, verb conjugation is basically taking an infinitive verb. If you remember what an infinitive verb, it is an unchanged verb. For example, I could take the verb leer, which means to read, and that is an infinitive. By conjugating it, I am taking it from to read to say something like I read. This is verb conjugation. Taking a verb that is just a generic description of what is happening, a verb, and changing it so that it is matched with a specific subject pronoun. Now, the first thing that we need to remember when conjugating verbs is that we're going to have to use subject pronouns or pronombres when we conjugate a verb to make sure that we match up the verb with the correct subject. So just as a reminder, here are your pronombres in Spanish. We have yo, which means I, tú, which means you, él, which means he, ella, which is she, and usted, which is you, formal. Then over on the right side we have nosotros, which means we, vosotros, which is you all, ellos and ellas, both meaning they. Remember that with ellas, it is all girls that you are talking about. And finally, ustedes, which is you all formal. So these are the subject pronouns that you are going to have to use when completing verb conjugation. Okay? This is how we get to I read from to read. So let's first start with our AR verb endings. Okay? For yo, in any AR verb, you are going to use the letter O as the verb ending. For to, you are going to use the letters AS. For él, ella, and usted, you are going to use the letters A. For nosotros, you will use AMOS. For vosotros, you will use A with an accent, IS. And for ellos, ellas, and ustedes, you will use AN. Now remember that pronunciation is very important with this. If you pronounce a word incorrectly, it could change the meaning. So, just as a reminder, these are pronounced as O, as, a, amos, ais, and an. Now for your ER verbs. For the O form ending, you're again going to use the letter O. For to, you will use the letters ES. For él, ella, and usted, use the letter E. For nosotros, use EMOS. For vosotros, use es. And for ellas, ellos, and ustedes, use the letters EN. Now the pronunciation for these is as follows. O, ace, a, amos, ace, and ain. Finally, for your IR verbs. For the yo form, you're going to use the letter O once again. For to, you will use the letters es. And for él, ella, and usted, use the letters e. For nosotros, you are going to use the letters I, M, O, S. For vosotros, use an I with an accent, S. And for ellos, ellas, and ustedes, use the letters E, N. The pronunciation for these is O, es, a, imos, is, and en. So let's talk about how we conjugate a verb now. First off, let's start with the whole verb. So we have hablar. The first thing we need to do is we need to erase the final two letters so that we get our verb stem. Okay, so right here, H-A-B-L is our verb stem. Then from there, all we have to do is we have to go and add on the appropriate verb ending. So if you remember back to your AR verb endings, the verb ending that matches with yo is the letter O. So I go back to here, I have my verb stem, and I add on the appropriate verb ending. Hablo. Yo hablo means I talk. If I were to do the same thing for the to form, I have my original verb, my infinitive, hablar. I erase the last two letters, and then I add on the appropriate ending. AS, tú hablas. For the él, ella, and usted form, I use the letter A as my ending, habla. For nosotros, I have the ending A, M, O, S, hablamos. For vosotros, I'm going to use the verb ending A with an accent, I-S, habláis. And for ellos, ellas, and ustedes, I'm going to end up with hablan. This is how you conjugate a verb. Again, all you do is you take the original infinitive verb, in this case, hablar. I chopped off the last two letters, and then I added on the appropriate verb ending for that type of verb. So let's do some practice. Here you have 3 of your verbs that you know of in English. Go ahead and see if you can write them out in Spanish, conjugating correctly for the subject provided. You might need to pause this video to be able to accomplish this, and then play it after you're done so that you can check your answers. So for I walk, the verb is caminar. Okay, and we have our subject pronoun yo. If I'm following those rules of conjugation, I erase my final 2 letters here, and then I need to add in my appropriate ending, so I end up with yo camino. For they dance, let's go ahead and add in our subject pronoun ellos. My verb is bailar. Following my verb conjugation process, I erase the last 2 letters here. And then I add in the appropriate ending, in this case, the letters A-N, and I get ellos bailan. Finally, for she eats, my subject pronoun is ella. My verb is comer. I'm going to erase those last 2 letters, and then add in the appropriate ending, which is the letter E, and I get ella come. This is your basic review on verb conjugation. You can use this video as well as other worksheets that have been provided in our past classes or within the Google Doc that I share with you to help you in figuring out the different assignments that I have planned for you in this week.